Nancy Pelosi's house was broken into. Paul Pelosi, your husband. It's like 2 a.m. or whatever. He's in his underwear. Some guy apparently breaks in. They get into a fight. Now, a whole lot of information comes out. Information's changing. Everybody's trying to figure out what's really going on. The first story was that like cops showed up and an unknown man let him in. And then they see, Paul Pelosi's fighting over a hammer with this guy who then beats him. Then they arrest the guy. People are, so here's what it breaks down to. On the left, they say this guy posted QAnon conspiracy theories and he was a radicalized Trump supporter. On the right, they're saying his house, and this is true, has a pride flag, a BLM flag, and like a Unite Against Hate sign in the window. And the neighbors say they were like hippie, nudist, hemp weaving leftists. So there's that story. The right that I'm seeing in the memes is that the guy who attacked Paul was a gay prostitute. The glass on the door was broken from the inside, so the glass went outside. And that Paul Pelosi called the police and said he was a friend. I think both of those stories go a little too far. I think it's fair to say we don't know exactly what happened, and it's probably what they're saying about this guy being a Q cultist. I don't believe. He was a registered Green Party guy. But before we get into it, I just want to say a couple things. The reason why I think Paul Pelosi said he was a friend, if you listen to the police report, the 911 dispatch call, you wake up in the morning, some guy breaks in your house. He's not immediately attacking you. He says, "Where's Nancy?" What do? Do you start screaming and swinging at him? Love, you're 82. So the story apparently is that he went to his bathroom where his phone was and then called the police. My assumption is that he told the guy, "Oh yeah, don't worry, just wait right here." Called the cops. Hey, there's a guy in my house. And the cop probably said, "Do you know who he is?" And he goes, "No." And they said, "Okay." And then Paul goes, "He's a friend. He's waiting for my wife." Because you've got a crazy guy sitting, you know what I'm saying? Crazy guy sitting in front of you. I don't think Paul said to the police on the phone, "Hi, I just want to let you know there's a guy I don't know in my house and he's a friend. I'm waiting for my wife." I think the police asked him. He probably said, "Hey, there's a man in my house. He's a friend. He's waiting for my wife." The cops probably said, "Do you know this man?" And he said, "No." So that this guy didn't hear what he was saying. I think that's entirely plausible. Why is the glass on the outside? Because the guy breaks it in and then pulls the glass out to reach in and get the door handle. I don't know. Now, I think the story doesn't completely make sense. This guy was a leftist. So the story about him being a QAnon cultist doesn't seem to make sense. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, did the official police reports say that Paul called him a friend on the phone with the cop?
Yes.
I don't think ever, if there was a break-in, that you would tell the police your friend is over.
If a crazy person broke into your house and started telling you, Ian, that you needed to help him right now to stop the gnomes who stole your spoons, and you said, would you be like, let me call the police and they'll get us on the phone?
No, I'd turn the fan on in the bathroom and be like, "There's a psychopath in my living room." Like I wouldn't even lie to the cops if I needed their help.
Lock the door to the bathroom. Close it there. There's also a couple things that make you kind of wonder what's going on here. The Pelosis are some of the richest people in the world and some of the most powerful and influential people in the world that have had their home targeted before by political activists, and they had no they had no security. They had no one. They had no police officers.
It was their decision that they intentionally refused security.
Yeah,
that's what they're saying.
Yeah,
yes,
that's absolutely just mind-boggling and
especially
doesn't really
after
add
the
up.
congressional leadership.
If you're doing something shady like they do in House of Cards, which by the way Bill Clinton said is 99% accurate, maybe then I would understand that. But there's also another thing that happened here, specifically with the Politico reporting that police told them that there was an unknown person that let them in. Politico is now reporting that this is a baseless claim when they originally reported on it.
Now, I want to say this, guys. All of this, the whole story, something doesn't add up. That's clear as day, right?
Yeah.
It is a good point. If he was able to go into his bathroom and close the door, but
where his phone was charging, we don't know why.
I mean,
and where's the body cam footage? I mean,
but it's early, right? Here's what I want to say though. I want to say this. I think the gay prostitute narrative is a trick. Because once everyone starts posting memes about this crazy story about a leftist gay prostitute, it makes any regular person be like, what?
Yeah.
Get out of here. It's ridiculous. A break-in sounds plausible. They're trying to turn the story about a break-in into a QAnon far-right cultist. So I don't know. I don't know for sure.
Wasn't the story that the guy that broke in was screaming about Nancy? Like, where's Nancy? I want Nancy. That to me sounds like I found the guy's passport in the wreckage on 9/11. It fell out of the flaming ball of airplane and landed on the ground. This proves that he was in the plane. You're like, what kind of psycho story is that? Passports don't fall out of burning explosive rubble like that. And also they don't prove anything if they did. And he just having someone tell me that a guy screamed something political is like, that just sounds like a red herring.
Well, Cass Sunstein, Obama's disinformation czar, openly talked about how they need to spread fake conspiracy theories in order to make the legitimate conspiracy theories look bad. Exactly, he also talked about the importance of infiltrating 9/11 family members who were victims of the attacks that happened in New York City in order to, of course, send in more propaganda, more disinformation in order to confuse everyone and make everyone look bad who were legitimately asking questions.
This is what I'm saying, right? The story can be something much simpler than people are making it out to be. It could be that Paul Pelosi was doing something embarrassing with a local guy who was a leftist. Maybe they were friends. Something bad happened and they're trying to cover it up. There's two ways you do it. The guy was a Q cultist, and then you get the right to push the most absurd story possible that no one would ever believe. And here we go. I'm seeing all the memes that are like, Paul Pelosi's gay lover is trending, and I'm like, that's how they get you.
He was driving drunk a year ago or something.
And who was the guy who was with him when he was driving his car drunk?
Oh, I don't know. Was there a guy with him?
Yeah.
So here's my point. For all we know, this guy could have been delivering drugs. That's substantially more reasonable and plausible. If you go to a regular person and say, do you think high-profile members of the government do drugs? They'll be like, yes. Do you think powerful CEOs and executives do drugs? Of course they. It's like a movie trope. They're doing coke all the time. Do you think it's possible that a drug deal could go bad, a small one, like a guy's dropping off at 2 a.m, some blow or something? Mm-hmm. That's happened. Okay, so do you think it's possible this could be something like that? Yeah, maybe. But the guy was reportedly a Q cultist. I'm like, what do you think is more plausible? That one of the most secure places in the country, the third in line for the presidency, had no security, and a fringe conspiracy theorist was able to break in and the government didn't know about it, or a dude was trying to buy some blow and it went bad.
Right. And to me, it's clear the social conditioning that's going on. Everything the left does right now is blamed on, MAGA terrorism, white supremacist terrorism. They're trying to, if you, any, 4-star general from the military or, any corporate CEO, whatever it is, they're all going to tell you in a congressional hearing, the number one threat to America these days is MAGA terrorism, white supremacist terrorism. Right. And again, I think if there's going to be an explanation for this, incident, whatever it is, that's their go-to card. And I just think they're playing that card every single time because they're conditioning everyone to anticipate that, that eventuality.
I do believe the likely scenario is that kind of what you were saying, Tim, that it was like some sort of late night rendezvous that got heated or something like that. And they probably knew each other.
And it could be gay prostitution. I just think that is a more shocking and difficult to believe story.
And it's really the worst case scenario that Paul was doing some blow with some dude that got out of hand and then he grabbed a hammer, I guess. Like, get out. Well, it's time for you to leave. And the guy's like, I'm not leaving, Paul. We're doing another line.
And there was something about now. There was something about a wellness check. Like the cops weren't even called there originally due to the disturbance. It was a wellness check on Paul as part of his probation. Yeah, that was in the original reporting was that they were called there on a wellness check.
Was that from when he got caught drink driving? Is that the
yes
at 2 a.m.
At 2 a.m.
Cool.
So hold on.
No, double check me on this because that was the original. The original story I heard was that the cops were there doing a wellness check, and then that escalated because the hammer didn't come out. Like the in the original Politico article, they said that Paul was not attacked with the hammer until the police arrived. It wasn't like they broke up a hammer attack. It's like the police showed up. And then the struggle over the hammer ensued. That was what I heard.
So, like,
I got dispatcher Heather Grimes had sent something was wrong with the situation and ordered officials to conduct an expedited wellness check on the home. Look at this. The glass is broken. So the glass on both the outside and the inside. People need to understand it. I'm seeing a lot of people say the glass on the outside. You can see the glass is clearly inside and outside.
Yeah, you could have pulled it out as he was breaking it open.
Right. So I know a dude who once kicked a glass window. His foot went through it because it was safety glass, and when he pulled it out,
you raked it out.
Oh, geez, I knew a guy did it with his arms, and then he just shredded his arms. Do not yank your arms out if you go through a window. Stay there and stay calm.
Yep. But anyway, glass comes out the other side too. So this is true. They were conducting a wellness check. So they say, quote, what's going on? Let me read. They say Paul Pelosi managed to call 911 and alert the dispatcher to his dire situation without his eventual attacker even knowing. Pelosi, the husband, blah, blah, blah. The alleged attacker, David DePapi, didn't realize Pelosi had dialed his phone or understood that Pelosi was speaking in code. What's going on? Why are you here? What are you going to do to me? Pelosi allegedly said in order to alert 911 to the emergency situation. See, so this wellness check wasn't random. That's what I thought happened. He didn't make a phone call and say, hello, there's a man in my house. I don't know him, but he's my friend. He was speaking in code. So the people who don't believe this, there were tons of viral stories that have been around for a long time of women who order pizza, and they'll say something. They'll call 911 and say, "I'd like to order a large pepperoni pizza." "Ma'am, this is 911. "Yes, I understand." "Ma'am, you're calling 911. It's not a pizza place." "Yes, I do understand. I would like to order a large pizza." And the dispatcher says, "Are you in danger, ma'am?" "Yes." "And is this someone threatening you at home?" "Yes." And they're like, "Okay, can you tell us what's going on, or are you in danger?" "I'm sorry, I don't know." And they'll go, "Okay," and then the police show up. If you've got some crazy person standing in front of you and you dial 911, you can't go, "Help, police, quick, he's here," because then you die. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or I don't know. It could be anything. But I'll tell you this, at the very least, going for the most circuitous story, Paul Pelosi was having a secret gay rendezvous. It got out of hand. The police showed up. It's like...
Yeah, I don't believe that. I also don't believe the political propaganda.
You can believe it if you want. I'm just saying, tell that to one of your normie friends and see how quickly they dismiss you and think you're insane.
Yeah, stay away from non-factual proven things right now on this.
You got to. Yeah, that's why I'm always like, look, sometimes the conspiracies are true. Like the DHS story we have right here, we've long had this evidence. Mm-hmm. But if before these documents were released, even now it's probably hard. You go to someone and say the government is colluding with big tech. We've got this from this lawsuit. People are going to be like, you're crazy. Now we have The Intercept reporting, a leftist publication. It's still going to be hard because the story sounds so nuts. Right. I'm just saying, it may be true. You just got to be careful how you're presenting it because it sounds ridiculous, and it may be.
And I recall the Andrew Gillum story. That was Ron DeSantis's gubernatorial opponent in 2018 in Florida, and there was the story there where he was found in a drug-induced coma on
naked.
Naked, having done all kinds of drugs, with a gay escort. And, if the photographic evidence of that rendezvous didn't exist, that would all be dismissed as a right-wing conspiracy theory. Mm. So, that's why it's so important.
And then the DHS and the FBI would go to big tech social media companies being like, you got to censor this right now, make sure no one talks about this. If they do, they get kicked off.
So it's plausible that right now the media is just trying to get their story straight. That's why Politico is contradicting their own reporting. They're just trying to get the narrative right.
They say they got body camera footage, New York Post.
Well,
they say it's caught on police body cam, so release it.
Yeah. So where is it?
But they're gonna be like, well, Paul's in his underwear and
got to blur it out.
Blur it out like Andrew Gillum. I want to see it.
I want to hear it more than anything.
Right.
Okay, it's starting to sound a little less nefarious now that he called the cops spoken code.
That's exactly what I see. Yeah. When I heard the dispatch call and they said he says he doesn't know him, but he's a friend, and he's waiting for his wife. And I saw everybody being like, why would he say he was a friend? And I'm like, it's like those pizza phone calls where the woman calls and says like me, we want pizza, and they're calling 911. He called in code. It's believable. I still think there's something really off about them not having security. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
And the initial report of a third person, they're saying was a misunderstanding. Another person was there. Come on, dude.
We have security, and we're like 1/1,000,000th of the value of the Pelosi's.
Yeah, seriously.
For real.
But
it makes no sense.
To me, it was a conscious act by them to not have security present. That raises a lot of red flags.
Or they had it, and they're saying they didn't to facilitate a story. They just had the people in. They're like, don't worry about it. I know the guy, and then the guy's in there. And
right.
We didn't even have security.
Yeah, it's their buddy.
I think if I was going to believe there was a conspiracy or anything, it'd probably be that it was a break-in. Like the where's Nancy stuff sounds way too much like the fake AOC story. Where is she? Where is she? Yeah, shut up. That never happened. I'm sure the cop walked in and said, where is she? Where is she? She's in the bathroom. Ma'am, you need to be evacuated. And she's like, oh, they're coming to get me. And then she lied about when it happened to make it seem like the January 6th rioters were coming for her when her story took place a full hour before the Capitol was even breached.
Well,
not in the Capitol, in the building.
And she was not even in the same building.
Adjacent.
I want to fire off some healing love to Paul. Recover from the head trauma, brother.
Yeah, man, I hope he's okay. It's a crazy story regardless.
I hope they don't make him run for political office anytime soon.
He's had a rough year. Just at baseline, he's had a rough year. Mm-hmm. It's self-inflicted rough year.
Nancy too. This got to be stressful. I would encourage you, Nancy. Yeah. You don't need to be there. I think that a lot of people that are in Congress, they feel like if they leave, they failed. But at some point, you got to take care of yourself and your family, and let us take care of the rest because we're here for you.
I think it's like the Bear Bryant situation. He resisted retiring in Alabama because he figured if he retired, he would die. die, which he did 6 months later. Like 6 months after he retired from coaching football, he was dead. I think a lot of these members of Congress, they're so old and ancient, they don't want to die. And they figure that, hey, if I go retire, then that'll be it. I'll be in the grave.
Because purpose keeps you alive.
Yep, that's right.
And work, too.
People who retire, I think retirement age is like the highest, most likely time of death.
Absolutely.
We should
But
never.
they could keep working if they retire from Congress.
Yeah, we shouldn't put humans in a position where they're 85 and feel like they can't stop being a representative
and
incapably.
their entire self-esteem and self-worth is wrapped up in that
Married
office
to it,
itself.
yeah.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.